Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Really excited to spend the next 30 minutes with you and really find out what ways in which we can improve your business. If you go away with 1-2 improvements to your business on a weekly basis, that makes significant progress over the year. We really hope you enjoy the shows. I encourage you to like and share with your friends, your network, your family members. Based on my book, The Ironman Mindset for Entrepreneurs, I want to pull out some type of content, some type of nugget every single week, meeting a guest, and that helps you develop your business and become more profitable. So check out the Wilson 360 website, look at some of the coaching programs, look at some of the training courses, click on those links, figure out how can we help you. We have now 14 people on the team that can come and help your business. So cheers everyone, have an awesome day. Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Really excited today to be joined by Rich Stockdale. Rich, nice to see you in the source today.
Thank you for having me.
So I think I make this joke every so often. We're both got a little bit of an accent here, so hopefully people can understand us.
Yeah, we'll do our best. So I'm from the sort of northern section of the UK, but now live towards the southwest.
Tell the audience a little bit about your background, if you don't mind, Rich.
I'm a data geek by heart, kind of half data geek, half failed sportsman. So I ended up actually playing your version of football for the Great Britain team out in the US. Bigger American boys beat the hell out of us, as you'd imagine. We tried our best. I just loved it. So I've loved everything about your country and culture, and I've been fortunate to visit quite a few times. And one day I'd like to call it home, but I haven't quite persuaded the wife yet. So big data, my PhD's in environmental data. Was in academia for about 10 years, much to my parents' surprise, because I was the first person to finish school, never mind college and uni. I'll use American vernacular where I can. Then worked for the government for the best part of 10 years. I came out of university literally just after the financial crisis in the UK. Nowhere recruiting. Only place I could work was the public sector. And all the things you hear about it now, about it being way overstaffed, no effort, no commitment, no standards. All of that was true and still is. Got really frustrated. So came out of there, left as one of their youngest directors, came out wanting to do something that mattered. So was very fortunate to be headhunted by an amazing engineering firm, a really bespoke group of guys who they took apart power stations and oil refineries and asbestos. They dealt with the nastiest of the nasty, and they set up a sister company that was doing green engineering. So kind of a version of landscaping, but very bespoke. So we would do river restoration, and we'd make new nature reserves, and we'd plant new woodlands and restore species and do everything we could to physically improve the environment. That was wonderful. We had 3 great years doing that with a fantastic company. And then my friends at the Oxygen House Group, which is a private equity fund in the UK, very bespoke group of high net worth individuals who are hugely committed to improving the environment. They reached out and said, we want your help in designing what a real impact first investment fund and business would look like. And we set off to build Oxygen Conservation, which is my company now, in 2021. And in the last 3.5 years, we've built the UK's biggest natural capital portfolio. So what that means is 43,000 acres of land spread across the UK, from Cornwall to the Cairngorms in Scotland, from the Welsh coast to the flatlands of Norfolk. And each of those landscapes is a place where we plant trees, we restore river systems, we improve habitats, we work with the land. We also have renewable energy, we have homes for people in rural communities. We're trying to create positive impact and generate a profit as a result of what we do, not the purpose. So we currently valued somewhere between 180 and 200 million pounds for that portfolio. We're about halfway through building that, and we hope to continue scaling that forward, because every pound we invest in the environment is doing something good for people and wildlife.
Now, you just mentioned about scaling there, and it sounds like you're making vast improvements in the land you help to manage. But part of that scaling is people. And I think we talked offline how I think you mentioned you're up about 20, 30 people.
So we're soon to be 30, and we're recruiting another 8 this year.
Now, you've mentioned to me how you've just seen a shift in the type of people that either you're hiring or you're seeing, or how they're adapting to their work environment. I'd love you just to talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So the environment sector in the UK, if you go back 10 years, maybe even 5, it was the public sector, it was charities, it was the retiree. You imagine the environment sector, it's a child's drawing of a tree, or it's someone in their 70s, planting a tree on a Sunday. It was a hobbyist purview. There was no high performance. There was no standards there, really. A lot of good intentions and positivity and really lovely people, but it didn't have a business ethos or an ethic or drive. And that's what we brought to it. And you look now, so we're still a really young company, only 3 and a bit years old. We do an intern program every year, a paid internship, where you come work with us for 3 months, you're paid for that period. Now, across the environment sector, it's really common for people to be expected to work for nothing for 3 months before getting a chance, or they want people, young people especially, to have years and years of volunteer experience before they can break their way in. And when they do, they're really low value jobs as well. So we've pivoted that on its head, and we've said, well, if we want the sector to be investable, we need to invest in ourselves as well. So this year alone, we had 2,000 applicants to be an intern with us. And some of these people are astonishing. We're getting Oxbridge graduates with first-class degrees, so your equivalent of Harvard and Yale, like literally banging on the door to get in. And as I say, if you went back 5 or 10 years ago, those people weren't looking at the environment sector or, ground engineering and things like that. They were looking at accountancy firms and law firms and the big consultancies. Whereas we're literally getting people with the top first out of university now trying to get in. So we asked them why. What is it that's attracting you to, what is making you want to come and work with Oxygen Conservation? And they're saying it's the purpose. It's because it's about the environment and wildlife and positive impact. And it's about the culture. So we are so open and transparent about everything we do. So I write weekly. I have the opportunity to speak to people like you on podcasts like this, to talk about the business, about what we do, and not just the high points, the difficulties and the challenges as well. We have a section on our website called Reasons to Criticize Us, and it's literally all the reasons people have had a pop at us and want to shoot us down for something and things they don't like, and we'll just hold our hands up and say, you're absolutely right. If you're not into that way of life, you won't like this about the business. So that authenticity, that honesty. I spoke to this amazing lady this week who we've just hired to come and work in our finance function. She's been working for an international relief company, a business out in Mexico for the last 3 years. She's just moved back. My question was, how on earth are you available? You're incredibly talented. And she's like, oh, no, I've been following you guys for years. You're the first company I applied to when I came back. I wanted to work for you, that just gave me goosebumps when I heard that. If you can put that positivity out there. The other thing we do, it's about how we recruit. So we include as many of our team as possible in that process. So people can check out my LinkedIn now. All the videos about how we recruit are out there. We make it really visible about what it's like to work with us. We showcase the incredible people in the team. We've got a really young, dynamic team. We build our values around environment, impact, adventure, and togetherness. So we're a completely remote team across the UK. We do have a head office, but only 1 or 2 people are based there. The rest of the people are home-based, but we speak every week. We start the week with what we call our Blackstone call, inspired by the fund. Every single person on the call, and our meetings are loud. If someone's achieved something, they're getting a massive round of applause. There's virtual high fives, there's whooping and hollering, there's energy in those meetings. And every couple of months, we get together on these estates that we're very fortunate to have and manage. And that means we can do things together. We can go surfing, we can go free dive, we can go mountain biking. We don't have that old corporate culture. We don't take people to the races or sporting events or down a bar on a Friday night. The next generation, they want outdoor sports and adventures and wild swimming, and they want to go deer stalking. They want to do all these things that connect them with nature. And when you can make it authentically about that, that's when you get something really special.
A lot of people, struggle to find good people for their company. And then secondly, they struggle to keep them. Maybe there's not enough opportunities, or maybe there's the owners, founders haven't necessarily explained the why, the purpose when they're in business. Thinking back to how you've positioned you've created almost like a recruiting tool. Did you design your website with this in mind, or is it just seem to have just attracted people? Talk me through that a little bit.
So I'd love to tell you I did. As business owners and founders, we often like to return logic, don't we? We work back from where we are. I think I've always thought the primary goal of whether you're a founder, whether you're a head coach, whatever, is talent identification. If you cannot recruit and find brilliant people, your business is getting worse every time. My rule on recruitment is always hire someone that's better than me at the thing that they're doing. If not, you're getting worse, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So, we've got financial modelers and economists and ecologists and drone surveyors and data visualization experts and lawyers, and they're all better at the thing they do than I was. So When we first started, it was me and our head of environment, Dan. It was two of us. And when we bought our first estate, the proposal paper and the documentation, I took the photos and I wrote every word except the environment section, which Dan wrote. The last acquisition we did, which was 15,000 acres in the Cairngorms, incredible estate. I didn't write a word of that acquisition paper, and it was way better than the ones I'd written because somebody else has come in and done every section to move it forward. So I think the key thing for us about that website and the branding was we just wanted to put out there an honest portrayal of what we thought was cool, what was aspirational, what was honest. And all that's done is help generate momentum and build on the back of it. So no, we didn't set off wanting that to be a recruitment tool. We just wanted it to be cool and attract. I suppose, actually, do you know what? We wanted it to be cool and attract attention and people. So I guess we did. We did want it to be a recruiting tool. Very fortunate as well that I've got an amazing marketing director, head of storytelling, we call her, who she's 27, super bright, dropped out of uni because she was just too creative to go with it. And she positions all our branding and stuff and makes us look fantastic. So that's another call, right? When we did that recruitment, the last two people for that job, one was the UK head of marketing for a massive corporate, like incredible CV. And the other one was a new person into the sector, super passionate, super enthusiastic, super cool, hadn't done that job before. We chose talent over the longevity of the CV because we were excited about what she could do, and she's just absolutely smashed it.
How do you filter through if you're getting all these applications, and how do you filter out the cool, not cool, talent versus passion?
So we had 2,000 intern applicants, right? So year one, when we didn't have a website or anything, we had 100 applicants. Next year we had 500. This last year we've had 2,000. So you can't do it yourself. For a start, what you need to do is include a huge amount of people in the process. One of the things I love to do is include really junior people in that first phase of sifting. Because, mate, you'll have seen thousands of CVs in your time, and it kind of gets a bit like snow blindness. It's like, what does good look like? Whereas, if you're new in your career and you haven't seen many, that's exciting to see that for the first time. And you can learn, oh, this is better than mine, and this is good, and this is different. I could learn from this. So we split up. Say we get 100. We actually average about 300 applicants for most jobs. So we'll split that across a group of 4 or 5 relatively junior people as it comes in. And their job, AI does a first pass of, is it complete? Have they answered anything? Are they legally allowed to work here? So that's dealt with. Once there's an application, they'll look through. And my steer on this is it a person you'd be excited to tell me about? And do you want to work with them? And my view on this, I read bottom up of a CV first. So I look and say, what have you achieved? What have you done? Whether it's sport, whether it's business, whether it's music. If you've done something special to prove that you're willing to work for something, to suffer for it, because success in life takes sacrifices. So what have you sacrificed for? Because then if that person wants to be in your business, they can do really well. We're doing a big house modernization at the minute. It feels big. It's just been going on forever. And I speak to the contractors about their recruiting philosophies, and they're trying to find ground workers and things like that. And I'm saying to them, go speak to the rugby players, the football players and things like that, because they're willing to graft. They turn up on time. They've hit training schedules. Almost, I'd rather take that than I would the specific skill set, because if you've got the values, the work ethic, the trust in there, you can teach someone a lot, especially if you're willing to coach. So we're also really explicit about that. With us being a remote team, we can't just put an arm around someone and coach it. So all our coaching is done this way, or occasionally when we get together. So you've got to be really explicit. If you're in an office every day, you can say to someone, watch this person who's brilliant when they come in and out of the office, what time to go home. If you're a remote worker, you don't know what time you're supposed to finish. So you have to explicitly say everything. I'm just publishing a piece at the moment about how we've built that culture being different from being a remote business, because we were founded in COVID. So we've only ever been a remote business. I think that's been key as well, because when you get certain businesses that have had a traditional model, if they try and go flexible, it just doesn't work. But because we were from day one a flexible remote business, that's helped on the recruitment as well, in terms of I can call from the entire UK and get talent. If I'm limited to a specific place, I've just logically fewer people.
100%. And I think part of that is, because obviously, here we are, early February, there's obviously it's a lot of messaging in the US around back to work with Dell, with the Trump administration. So it's just really interesting. But, I think the virtual model can work if you've got that energy. And it sounds like you have great meetings, you have great people, you create an interesting dynamics.
You've got to bring it, mate, haven't you? Like, as a leader of a team like that, so we have this 10 o'clock call on a Monday morning, everyone in there, 30 people on screen, I chair it. If I turn up and I'm knackered and down, the whole team's going to go off that ethos. So I have to bring it. That's my team talk. That's my The purpose of that meeting is get everyone ready to go, to run through a wall, to go do the impossible this week. How do we find that with them? So there's kind of a set agenda to it. But sometimes I'll rock in, wipe the agenda and say, right, what did you learn last week and what are you excited about this week? And I'll get everyone to talk, even the most juniors. They'll tell a story. I'll shout out someone else, congratulate them, loads of round of applause, loads of noise, because you've got to build that momentum into the week. And I think as a leader, got to motivate your people. And you've also got to be able to check back with it as well. So what we have is every morning, I think it lands at 7 a.m., people get 5 questions on their phone. And this is totally stolen from Nick Saban's weight room in Alabama. So when the guys walk in the morning, there's an iPad in front of them and they have to tick out of 10. How did you sleep? How hydrated are you? How excited are you? Are you worried about anything? Bang, bang, bang. So we adopted a similar thing. So in a morning, they just asked 1 to 10, how was yesterday? How do you feel today? How much capacity have you got to work? Do you need anything? Did you stay away from home last night as well? Mm-hmm. And that comes through. And if anyone scores notably low for them, because we have to calibrate, some people are a 6 every day, some people are an 8. My standard day is probably a 7. So if I'm a 6, it's not a bad day. But if I'm usually an 8 and I'm a 5, that'll flag and I'll get a note through. So will our head of people, and it just says check in with them. The other side of that is if someone gives us a 9 or a 10, you can drop them a note and go, what's going on? What was so brilliant? And it gives you that ability to almost look across the room, which we can't do because we're remote all the time. So we're just playing with that at the moment in terms of what I can get reporting wise on a day-to-day basis. So I'd love that preemptive report. And is it across a week or a couple of days? But what's the numerical mood of the business? Does the business overall feel like a 6 at the minute? Because as a founder, you have that feeling, like your gut call of, are people happy, aren't they? But it's really hard. If you can put a number on that, it just gives you an extra data point to work to.
I know we're wrapping up here with time, but
we could do this for ages.
Oh no, I know. And I'll probably get you back on here. What would be, some either existing long-term companies that really struggle with their recruitment, or maybe there's some new up-and-coming companies that are trying to figure out how to bring in great talent? Because I agree 100% with you. It's always better to have you're the dumbest person in the room. So you're hiring smart people, you're hiring energetic people. You're just really elevating, scaling that company. So for those companies that struggle with that recruiting piece, what would be maybe your top 3 nuggets for them?
Invest in it and recognize it's really important. The whole, when people say, I'm not very good at recruiting, I don't like recruiting, tough. If you don't like recruiting, you don't like making money and you don't like being in business. So that's the first thing. Learn to love it and realize it's your job as a founder.
Right.
And then go ask your best people why they're there, what would attract them to be there, how do you find more people like them? Because they're your best advocates. If your best people are out there, if you're not asking them to try and help find other people, someone else will be trying to find them. I always say to people, don't introduce me to your talented members of staff. I'm going to steal them. I'm trying to compete. Why? If you can have 10 first-round picks, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
I love that.
The next one is share more as a brand. Be honest, share more, be more accessible, be more vulnerable. I really struggle with that as a leader right to start with. So I grew up in the 80s. The leadership role models were Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and you were taught, don't speak, don't ask questions, hit first, angry, driven forward, push everyone else down. And it took me years to realize in a crisis, your team needs you to be on point, not faltering, drive forward. But every day, your team needs to realize you're human and you're your brand. And if you can't be honest with them about the bad days you're having, the good days you're having, people won't view you as an authentic leader. And you've got to drive forward from the front, lead by example. And you can't open up any say-do gaps as a business. If you say you're a sustainable business, you better be. If you say you're an impact business, you better be. People can smell and feel and touch and taste bullshit. So you just got to make sure you're front and center in terms of what you do and realize recruitment is your job.
So how can people find you? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
So Oxygen Conservation, our podcast is called The Shoot Room Sessions. You can Google that. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you want to read my stuff, LinkedIn's the place to find me. It's just Rich Stockdale _ my first book comes out this summer. I'll send a copy your way.
Awesome.
So yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Rich. Really appreciate it. I love your messaging, love your passion. And let's get you back on again soon.
I'd love that, mate. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, cheers. Hopefully that was pure, dead brilliant for you today. We've got some great Ironman mindset takeaways for your business and for your leadership role. This is Robert Klinkenbeard, the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Check us out on all the different podcast channels. Check us out on YouTube, like, share. Also check out our website, thecommerciallandscaper.com or wilson360.com. Check out some of the digital courses. Check out the book, The Ironman Mindset for Entrepreneurs. We want to make sure we have a pure, dead, brilliant day. Cheers, everyone.